What's up, y'all? Come on in, come on in. You already know we gotta chop it up. Let me talk to you about something that needs to be addressed. Something a lot of y'all are out there dealing with right now, but don't even realize it. And it's costing you. It's costing you peace. It's costing you good people. It's costing you real love. It's costing you the future you're trying to build. We're talking about bad relationships built on bad information, y'all. And more specifically, the people in your life giving you terrible advice about love, marriage, and relationships when they don't even have what you're trying to build. Let's lock in because this one right here, this is for anybody who's trying to level up, settle down, and build something real. Let me start by saying this. If you want a husband or a wife, if you want a real committed, long term, ride or die relationship, stop taking advice from people who are single, bitter, and haven't maintained a quality relationship long enough to have anything to show for it. I'm serious. Look around and pay attention who's in your ear and who you're confiding in, who you're calling when things get rocky between you and your significant other. Because if the person you're running to for relationship advice is somebody who can't keep a relationship themselves, you're setting yourself up for failure, period. Think about it. If you're asking someone who's double your age, let's say they're in their 50s or 60s and never been married, never been in a committed relationship for more than a couple years, never built a stable partnership with anyone. What do they really have to teach you? What wisdom can they actually pass down to you? And I'm not saying this to be disrespectful. I'm saying this because it's real. If you ain't been married 20 years or more, if you ain't got somebody at home holding you down through thick and thin, if you ain't navigated the ups and downs of a real committed relationship, then keep all marital advice to yourself because that's bad information you're giving. That's the same information that's going to make me end up single just like you. Now, let me be clear. I'm not talking about people who've been through a divorce and learned from it. I'm talking about people who've been in real relationships, did the work, and came out wiser. I'm talking about the ones who've been playing games their whole life, the ones who never committed to anything real or solid, the ones who still operate off the same toxic, immature, ego driven mindset they had when they were 21. These are the people telling you to keep your options open, telling you to don't ever let them see you sweat, telling you to play hard to get and make somebody chase you and never show too much emotion, telling you to keep a backup plan, telling you not to be vulnerable in your relationship, telling you to treat love like it's a chess match instead of a partnership. That's stupid to me. And yeah, maybe that advice worked when you were a young teenager in the streets, keeping a return receipt for every person you dealt with and talked to. Maybe that worked when you were just out there having fun, not trying to build something serious with anybody. But as an adult, when you're trying to settle down and build a strong foundation with someone, that type of advice is poison. Because here's the truth: the person giving you the advice is still single for a reason. They're still alone for a reason. They're still bouncing from situation to situation for a reason. And that reason is simple. They never learned how to love for real, for real. They never learned how commitment works. They never learned how to be vulnerable, accountable, or selfless. They never learned how to build something that lasts. So why would you take advice from a person like that? Let me paint the picture for you real quick. You got an auntie, an uncle, a cousin, a homeboy, a homegirl, somebody close to you, right? And every time you go to them with relationship problems, they tell you the same thing. You don't need that. They ain't worth it. Just leave. Go find somebody else. Don't let them disrespect you like that. And on the surface, it sounds like they're protecting you. It sounds like they care. But if you look closer, if you really pay attention, this is the same person who's been single for 15 to 20 years, the same person who gets called up by married men sneaking around on their wives, the same person still getting hit up by people they messed with in high school who are now miserable in their own marriages and looking for an escape. This is the person still living in the same exact spot, still drinking the same drink, still operating off the same mentality they had 20 something years ago. And now they trying to give you advice on how to maintain a lifetime of love. Nah, that don't add up to me. Because if they knew how to maintain love, they'd have it. If they knew how to build something real, they'd be in it. If they knew how to navigate conflict, communicate, compromise, and commit, they wouldn't be where they are right now. And here's the part that really gets me. A lot of these people are giving you bad advice not because they want to help you. They're giving you bad advice because misery loves company. They don't want to see you win in an area that they lost. They don't want to see you build what they couldn't build. They don't want to see you happy with someone when they're still out here lonely, bitter, and stuck. So they plant seeds of doubt. They make you second guess your partner. They make you think every argument is a red flag. They make you think wanting commitment is weak. They make you think being vulnerable is dangerous. They make you think love is supposed to be a constant battle instead of a peaceful partnership. And if you listen to them close enough, if you follow that advice, you're going to end up exactly where they are, single, alone, confused, and still thinking you hot and cool. Time goes on. Wondering why you can't keep anybody, wondering why every late relationship you got falls apart, wondering why you can't build something that lasts. And the answer is simple. You've been taking advice from people who don't know how to build what you're trying to build. Listen to me. If you're trying to get married, if you're trying to build a family, if you're trying to create a stable, loving, committed partnership that lasts for a lifetime, you need to be getting advice from people who've done that. People who've been married 20, 30, 40 years. People who've navigated the storms and still stayed together and pushed through it. People who've learned how to love through the hard seasons of a relationship. People who've built something real and stood on it and sustained it. Those are the people you listen to. Not the ones still out here playing games. Not the ones still operating off their ego and their pride. Not the ones who've never committed to anybody, ever been serious with anybody in their life and still has that person. And the truth is, the game changes when you're trying to build something real. That's the bottom line. That's the strategies that work when you're just casually dating, not marriage. The mindset that keeps you protected when you're single, the same mindset will destroy a committed relationship. You can't be the man or woman you were at 17 when you 40 something years old. That makes zero sense. The way you moved back then by guarding your heart, playing the field, not trusting anybody, operating off of ego, that don't work when you trying to build a life with someone and be solid. At some point, you got to grow up. You have to mature. You have to learn how to love for real. And that means being vulnerable. That means being accountable. That means being willing to work through conflict on all levels instead of running every time things get hard. And if you're in a position where younger people are looking up to you, if you got a nephew, a niece, a younger cousin, a mentee, you have a responsibility to give them solid advice, not the same toxic, immature, street level nonsense that kept you single and stuck. If my nephew comes to me about his relationship, I'm not telling him to go out and play games. I'm not telling him to keep his options open. I'm not going to tell him to do something shady that he's going to need forgiveness for later. That's not being a man of integrity. That's not being someone he should look up to. That would make me a dirtbag telling him to go be a dirtbag. I'm going to tell him to conduct himself like a man. I'm going to tell him to keep his relationship tight. I'm going to tell him to communicate, to be honest, to be accountable, to treat his lady with respect, to work through the conflict, to be vulnerable, to be committed, to be the kind of man his future wife can depend on. That's what real advice looks like. That's what wisdom looks like. That's what it means to actually help someone instead of leading them down the same broken path you've been on. So I'm going to wrap it up. Stay away from people who give you bad information unless you're trying to lose who and what you got. Period. Don't confide in people who do not have what you're aiming for in life. If they ain't rich, if they ain't got the family you want, if they ain't got the businesses, the accounts, the integrity, the level of respect that you're standing on, then what they're saying might have been suitable back in the days. But it does not apply to where you going in your life right now. You can't build a future off advice from people stuck in their past. You can't build a marriage off of advice from people who've never been married. You can't build stability off advice from people who've been unstable their whole life. If you're serious about leveling up, if you're serious about building something real, you need to be selective about who you listen to. You need to be intentional about who you let speak into your life. Because bad information will cost you everything. And if you're someone who's been hurt, if you're someone who's been through it already, if you're someone who's carrying pain from past relationships, don't pass that pain down to the next generation. Don't kill somebody else's chance of happiness by giving them the same broken advice that's kept you single. Heal, grow, learn. And when you're ready, give them wisdom, not wounds. That's the solid thing to do. Because at the end of the day, if you ain't got what I'm trying to have, we have nothing to talk about. And I mean that with all due respect. I'm not trying to end up where you are. I'm trying to build something better. And I can only do that by listening to people who've already done it. If this message hit you, drop a comment and let me know. Who's the person in your life giving you solid relationship advice? And if you don't have that person yet, maybe it's time to find them. And if you're serious about doing the internal work necessary to show up better in your relationships, do me a solid. Check out my shadow work journal and my 90-day habit stacking journal down in the description. It's a great place to begin your peaceful journey of healing, because both are designed to help you level up inside and out and build a life you love and actually want. I appreciate y'all time. I love y'all. We're going to always keep it G. We're going to always keep it real over here, and we're going to always keep it solid. With that being said, man, I'm going to see y'all in the next episode. And as always, we're going to end it on the right foot. All gas, no brakes. Lock in. Peace.